Fort Jesus. Oh my goodness. Hi guys, how are you and welcome back to my channel. It's me Umu Hamdi, and today guys I'm taking you to this special place, the most famous historical site here in Mombasa. And guys, let's explore Fort Jesus today. We are on to our way to the site. It has been founded by the Portuguese for more than 400 years ago, who have later been withdrawn by the Oman Arabs. And today we are going into the deep detail and history of the place, how those people lived in terms of their culture, the weapons they used to fight each other, their way of living, more so their staple food, their attires, and how they lived to interact with the people of Mombasa back then. So guys, let's do this. It's a bit crowded because it's now festive season. Let's chip into it and see what they have for us in the store. Here I have my ticket with me. Going in, I have my tour guide with me, Mr. Harrison. He'll be taking us through each and every step and part of the place. Let's go.
So good evening guys, welcome to Fort Jesus. This is Fort Jesus, and here is the structure of now Fort Jesus. This is the aerial view of Fort Jesus, and if you look at this fort, it resembles like a human being, and that's why if you can look at here, this is the head, these are the arms, and this is the waist part of it, and this is the legs. And if you can look at this fort before we begin, at each and every corner you can be able to see the watchtowers. So the watchtowers, you can see it is here and it's even here. So this thing initially, the fort initially was built by the Portuguese. They were the first people who came here and built this fort. So the first Portuguese to come here was Vasco da Gama back in the year 1498, but now he never managed to conquer Mombasa because Mombasa had the Arabs, and the Arabs was so hostile. So initially in 1400, we had only two towns along the coast, which is Mombasa and Malindi, which were dominated by the Arabs. But now these Arabs, they had the inner rivals. They never came together to produce a sultan who could lead them. So that's why the Mombasa Arabs were very hostile, and they never allowed any visa from outside. So Vasco da Gama found it easier to anchor at Malindi because the Malindi Arabs were so friendly to them, so to him, and they wanted to use him as a spy so that he can know the activities that were taking place in Mombasa, the activities that were being conducted by the Arabs in Mombasa. Therefore, they accepted to take Vasco da Gama because they wanted to use him as a spy. So Vasco da Gama, being the first Portuguese, he came here as a missionary, and he came to spread Christianity. He stayed well with the locals. And then in the year 1593, he went back to Portuguese and brought the other Portuguese. So in collaboration with the locals, because they were friendly with them, they came and built this fort for a duration of 3 years, and it was built by 4,000 men. So initially, this fort was a rock, was a huge rock which was in Indian Ocean. It was surrounded by water. So that's why 7% of this structure is just a carving. So the 30% are now the real construction which have been constructed now. Then therefore, they ruled here for a century. Then later on, the Arabs came to realize that now the Portuguese were taking over this Mombasa. Then they had now to raid this fort for a duration of 2 years and 9 months. That's the duration. That's now from 1696 up to 1698. And what they did, they put the fort under siege. So during that time, we had the 147 Portuguese inside this fort, and it was raided by 3,000 Arab soldiers from outside. So the Arab soldiers made sure that there was no any support from the Portuguese which was coming from outside now their country, because the Portuguese used to receive their weapons from their country, that's Portugal, and the foodstuffs. So the Portuguese inside the fort now suffered hunger. They also suffered diseases, others even died, and even others now ended up to kill one another, and that's how they had no option other than surrendering and giving the fort to the Arabs. So during the Arabs era, so I've told you initially, the Portuguese, they use the fort now as a military base, and that's why if you can look at the structure, you'll be able to see the watching towers at each and every corner. Like here, you can be able to see also the gun point. So this is now the direction, and this is now the routes. These are now the routes of the fort. We have the captain's house, which is here number 1, the passage of patches, which is underground. Ammunition store, it's also underground. We have the gun platform, which is here number 5. Audience hall is somewhere here. We have the Portuguese wall painting, which are here. We have the gift shop here. We have the museum gallery, which is here. We have the administration block, which is located now behind the museum gallery. We have the chapel ruins, which is here. We have the cistern, which is here. We have the well, the skeleton replica. Then we have the Homani house. Then we have the barracks. Then we have the washrooms. So the barracks here now the barracks, but now they were destroyed by the Arabs. Then now after the Arabs took over, they were already carrying out the activities. They slept outside there at the old town. So what they did, they just used this fort now as an administration block, whereby they incorporated all the activities from inside here. Now in the 17th century, back in now, that's in the year 1800, that's the time now when the British came in, and they never came through the coast. They came through the western part. They came from Uganda, and that's now during the time, and now that was now during the struggle and partition in Africa, when now the African countries were struggling for independence. So when they came through the western, that's the time where we have the Kenyan leaders who resisted, and we have the others who collaborated now with the British way of ruling. And those who now resisted, including the likes of Meka Tilili Wamenza, who was a very hostile guerrilla Maredi. So he was jailed here by the British, and he was jailed in one of the rooms, which we are going to see it later. Then now the British had to come to the coast and then try to convince the Arabs to sign an agreement to stop the slave trade. But now, because the Arabs resisted, the British now had to chase them and push them out of this fort. Then later now, the British used this room as a prison, whereby they used to jail those people who were against their way of ruling. So that's a brief history about this fort. Feel free, welcome, and now we can start our tour. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the details you thought about it, or history of the Portuguese.
Yes.
Now I have a simple question.
Yes.
You can see we have cannons.
Yeah.
Here.
So we have
There are
cannons
these
here.
ones that are arranged here.
Yes.
And then there are these ones which are arranged on this other side.
Yes.
And we are told that they are of different types.
Yes.
They are the ones that have been used by the Portuguese.
Yes.
And there are others that have been used by the Oman.
Yes.
Who later came.
Yes.
So I would like you to tell us more about these cannons and
Yes.
how they were used. Before we
Okay.
go deep into the field for the details.
Yeah, as I have explained initially, we had these 3 groups who used this fort. So the first fort, the first group which used the cannons here as their weapons were the Portuguese. And the Portuguese, when they came from their country, they were aware that they were coming to face the hostile community, which were the Arabs. So now they had to come in with their weapons. So their weapons were their cannons. So the 3 groups that stayed inside here, each and every group had their own cannons. So the cannons that you are seeing here, the ones that have been arranged outside the museum gallery, these are now the British cannons. The British cannons, they had a crown and they also had a handle, of which we are going to see it later. And then the one which are now ahead of now the barracks, these are now the Portuguese cannons. So they were rough in service and they don't have the crown, and also they didn't have the handle. And the Arabs cannons, we are going to see it. How are these cannons used? The cannons had the hole. Then during that time now they had a powder which they call the gunpowder. So they used to fill those cannons with the gunpowder, and then they had the cannon balls. They are made of metals. So they used now, we are going to see them towards the end of our tour. So they had to fill they had now to put the cannonballs inside after now inserting the gunpowder. And then from there, we add a hole where they could light the matchstick, and then now the powder could collect and then bomb the cannonballs. Now bomb the cannonballs, now shoot the cannonballs towards the ships. So during that time, the ships now were made of wooden. So, and if that ball could hit the ship, they could break now the wood and form the hole. And therefore, the water will enter into the ship and then the ship will sink. So that's how they used to conquer their enemies. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, and it's now, guys, our time to have a tour of the entire Fort Jesus. As you can see, now we are done with the first part about the chart. The chart is all about the deep detail of the structure of the Fort Jesus, which looks like a human shape. You can see the head, the arms, the other body, and the limbs. It has been, there. That is it. And then we have many other structures that are here that we are going to see them in real life, and how they were used, how they helped these Portuguese in one way, or how they defeated Ottomans, defeated the Portuguese, all through this process. And let's go and see what they have for us.
Thank you. So here, as you can see, this is now the Portuguese cannons. I have already explained the way they used to work. So if you can look, we have a hole here. This is a hole. This is where now they used to fill now with the gunpowder and then the cannonballs. And then from there, they could now ignite here. This is now the hole. You can see the hole. And then after the reaction now, they place the gunpowder from here, this hole. And then to fulfill it later with the cannonballs. And then they used to ignite at this hole, and then it could shoot. Yeah, it shoots. Yeah. So the place we are heading to is called now the Passage of Arches. And now if you can look at the rock, now the structure, the construction materials that constructed now the rock, this is not the construction, this is the coral rock. So when the Portuguese came in, what they did, so when the Portuguese came in, what they did the carvings. And now this is the coral rock. This is how it looks like. So here, it's written the Passage of Arches. And then at the far end there, we can see now the entrance. And this is where now the Portuguese used to receive their weapons, and they used to store them in an ammunition room. So we are going to the storeroom and we are going to see it. And then we proceed with our tour.
This particular place is typically a store for their guns or weapons?
Yeah, it was used for a storeroom for their weapons. But later, when the Arabs came and took over this fort, now they used this storeroom as now a torturing room. This is where they used now to torture the blacks, the locals, before they could export them. Using the same route, they put them into their ships and then export them to go and work for their country. So the room, as you can see here, served two purposes. So it served as a storeroom, and it's also served as a torturing room for the locals. Yeah.
Is this where the likes of Mekatilili Wamenza were tortured?
No. Mekatilili was never tortured here, but he had a special room where he was tortured and he was jailed by the British.
In here?
But this one, yeah, inside this here, but not at this place, now a different position. Yeah.
Now time to head over to another section. This is typically, as we have been shown, a store for their weapons, as well as the torturing place for the locals whom they used or they mistreated. The Portuguese mistreated.
Not the Portuguese, pardon. The Arabs, The Arabs, not the Portuguese.
The Arabs were the ones who have mistreated and tortured the locals?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So the place now we are heading to, we are heading now towards the head part of the Fort Jesus. So the head, yeah, the head part, what does it consist? It consists now the gun port, the gun platform, and then we are going to see the watchtowers and how they function. They even have the doors where you can enter inside and have a look at it. Then from there, we'll have to visit now the captain's house, where the captain now used to stay, whereby we have the kitchen, and then we have the bedroom, and I'm also going to take you to where he used to dine. So if we can look at this opening here, this is an opening where the Arabs, the Portuguese used now to monitor the activities that the Arabs were doing outside there. So during that time, the Arabs were doing now the slave trade activities. So the Portuguese, because they knew that the Arabs were outside and they were like their enemies, that's why they left this an opening purposely for monitoring the activities that the Arabs they used to do outside there. And now that is Old Town. Then next we are heading now the watchtower. Now this watchtower, these are now the towers which the soldiers used to enter and monitor the activities that were taking place around the ocean. So they have the door, as you can see, and you can enter inside and have a look if you wish.
Go inside.
Yeah. So the halls were used for monitoring the activities that were taking around the ocean. Mezunguka vibaya. This is now what differentiated from the British cannon. And you can, if you look at this surface, it is somehow smooth compared to the British that we are going to see later.
This is the
British cannon.
British cannon.
And it has a
With the
crown.
handle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So next we have this opening. So the opening here, this were now used as attacking holes. So this is where the soldiers now used to line across the entire wall and shoot. So with this hole, it is easy for you to shoot an enemy who is outside, but now the enemy can't reply back because the holes were very narrow and tiny. Yeah. So when the Portuguese built this fort, they built 15 meters and they built up to here. And then later when the Arabs took over, they added 3 meters on top of it. And now this sum up to 18 meters, yeah, of the height of the wall. And then let's have a look at this one. This was now the captain's house. This was now the captain's house. And this now served as a kitchen. And then we have the latter part served now as the bedroom. Then earlier it had a roofing, the makuti roofing, but now the makuti fades away. And then you can see the introduction of the grills at the windows. This one now were introduced during the British era and were used now as prisons. As a prison now, people who are against the British way of ruling were jailed here, and that's why you see the introduction of the grills so that the prisoners could not run away. Yeah. Yeah, and this is now the aerial view of now the first entrance, the passage of hatches. Yeah.
This is the door. The window.
That's not the door, that's the window. Yeah.
The rooms are deep down there.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going. Now this is the head part of the fort that you've seen from the chart. These are all the British cannon.
Yeah, these are the British cannon, and
with handle and the Queen Elizabeth's.
Yeah, that's now the Queen Elizabeth's crown, and also we have the handle here. And now this place is called the gun platform.
This is the second watchtower. You can see it served the same point, the same purpose as the first watchtower that you said it is used to see the enemies from far, from the sea, from the ocean. And here is another.
So this is another opening. It was also used for viewing the activities that were taking place in the ocean. So in case they said something that they felt like they doubted, they could get prepared in earlier, and it was like now they could communicate earlier so that they can get prepared. But initially, the sea route was just ahead of this fort, but now the water bedrock reduced, and now the ship's routes had to be changed. So even if you look at the far end there, you can be able to see down the green and the red pillar. That is now the new sea routes. So the sea routes have their special route where they pass in the ocean. I don't know whether we can be able to see them, the green and the red. Yeah, the green and the red tower. So I don't know whether you can be able. I can see the green one there.
Then the red one is over here. And then
that's the green. The red one.
The red one is here.
No, that's not the red. Yeah. No. That's a boat.
Ah.
Yeah.
So it is just that.
Can you? Yes. Yeah. We have the red.
The red one far behind?
Yeah, far behind the green one. Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Those are the two towers?
Yeah, the two towers. Now the ships pass in between. That's a special sea route. The special ships route, they just don't pass anywhere. They have their special way in the ocean. Yeah. We can go. If we look here below, this was another entrance. It is written the passage of steps there. And this is where now the Portuguese used to receive their foodstuffs and the medicine. It is written the passage of steps somewhere there. If you have, you can, yeah, that one, this one here. So that's the passage of steps. The storeroom. The upper one, yeah. Yes. Yeah, the storeroom for foodstuffs and medicine. And then we have this opening here. This now served as the Portuguese soldiers' bathroom.
This one.
Yeah, this one. Yeah. Then we proceed. Then we have this room here. Now this now served as the captain's dining room. This is where now he used to take his meals from. So that was the kitchen. The food was prepared there, and then it was brought here. And then after now taking his meals, he could go back to bedroom and relax. So that's how the pattern of this house was. Yeah. But now the roofing of the house, yeah, faded. And this one now, the dining room, as you can see, it has been renovated now. Yeah. So this is where the captain now used to walk around, and we have this is a special place for him. This is where he used to relax during the sunny and during the hot seasons. This is where he used to relax, and he also used this place to monitor the activities that were taking place in the ocean. If you can look at that far end, you'll be able to see the white tower. The white tower. There are two, and we have the other one there. So the two towers now are used as the navigation tower. So initially the ship's route was here, but now the water bedrock is reduced, and that's why the towers have been exposed and now have been shifted into the far end of the sea. So in the year 1698, there was a Portuguese ship which was coming, and it was bringing foodstuff to the Portuguese. But now, due to poor communication, and during that time, now the Arabs had already conquered the Portuguese and taken the fort. So the Portuguese ship that was coming, they were unaware that now the fort has already been taken over by the Arabs. So when the ship approached the fort, now they have shot it, and then the ship drowned. But many years later, the ship was excavated, and the remains were put in the museum, and that's now the real museum, and we are heading there. We are going to see those things. Thank you. Yeah, this one has not been added. This is a space of a cannon, but now they were moved here later, and that's why they have been placed in front there for display purposes. So the cannon that we are approaching, the one that you are seeing ahead of us, that's now the Portuguese cannon. And if you have a look at it, it has a rough surface and it's longer compared to the British. And from far you can see it doesn't have a handle and also it doesn't have a crown. So the watchtower that you are seeing hide there serve the same purpose as the other, as like the other towers, like the ones that we have seen.
This is now the second type of the cannon that were used.
Yeah.
It has no handle.
Yeah.
Or the crown.
Yeah.
It's a bit longer as compared to the British one.
Yeah, the British one.
So, and I was told it was less powerful than that of.
Yeah, it was less powerful compared to the British one. It had, this is, you know, this one now, this is for 13th century, and the British one is modernized, is for 17th century. So this one will add the power to shoot up to 200 meters, a distance of 200 meters. But with the British one, had the power to shoot up to 300 meters. Yeah, thank you. Now we are heading to another section, and we are heading, the one now you can see ahead of us is another section. It was used as a kitchen. It has got his and own unique history. So let's get there, and then we'll get to learn more about it. Yeah. So welcome to this room. During the Portuguese era, as you can see, you can be able to see the chimneys. There's a big chimney there. So this shows that now this was the Portuguese kitchen. Now during the Portuguese era, they used this as a kitchen for the soldiers. So they used it as a kitchen for the soldiers. And now if you can have a look at this one, these are now the serving windows. So the food used to be prepared here, and the soldiers were served through these windows. And when the Arabs took over, they just used the same house for the same purpose. But now during the British era, as I have explained earlier, they came during the struggle for independence in Africa, and we had those leaders who were against the British way of ruling, including the strong, powerful lady Mekatilili Wamenza. So being hostile and being against the British way of ruling, she was jailed in this room. And that's why if you can look at these windows, you can see now the introduction of the grills. So the British are the ones now who introduced these grills to prevent now the prisoners from escaping. So during the British era, this room was used as a female prison. Thank you. Yeah. So the shelves that you can see here, they were used as was now a gift shop where the visitors could get the magazines and read more about the fort. But now, since COVID-19 came, we have not resumed and the gift shop has not been opened. Yeah. So we are heading to another section. So we are heading to the doors. And now these are now called the Oman doors. The Oman doors, Oman are the Arabs now who conquered the Portuguese. So if you can look at these metals, they symbolize security, the flowers, they symbolize their culture, and then we have a chain here. So these chains symbolize unity on how those people were united. So these doors, they are there, they are made of mahogany, and they still exist up to date. If you go to places where the Arabs lived along the coast, you can be able to see these doors. So this one has been left here as a display to portray the Arabs' culture. Thank you. So we are heading this way. So this one now is called now the secret of passage. The secret of passage or an escape route. So this is where now they could use for escaping. In case they had an emergency or they had something which need an immediate response. So they used to hide here. So we are going to see the opening whereby they could use now as a secret room, whereby they could use as an escaping route towards the ocean. Yeah, so you can look at you can look at it. This is now the secret of passage or an escape room. Yeah, too dark. Yeah.
This is the escape route.
Escape route, our secret of passage of secrets. So we are heading now the Portuguese wall painting. So initially there were no writing materials. So each and every activity they used to do now, they had no option other than drawing them on walls. So we are heading there, and the ones that we are going to see, they are not the actual one, they are the duplicates. So when we reach there, I will try to explain some of them, and then we will proceed with our tour. The Portuguese wall paintings. Yeah. This is the same door, portray the same culture. Yeah. So welcome the Portuguese wall painting. So the ships that you can see here, they portray the mode of transport. And then if you look at this one here, now we are going to see the soldiers. These are Portuguese soldiers, and these are now the Arab soldiers. This shows that the Portuguese soldier was strong in a way that one Portuguese soldier was equivalent to 3 Arab soldiers. And that's why when they raided this place, there were 3,000 men, Arab soldiers who raided this fort against 147 soldiers. And then looking at this one resembles a cross and a grave. Shows the way now the Portuguese to bury their soldiers with a cross. And then we have the fish that you can see here. This shows their stable food. We have the church. This church now shows that now the Portuguese were Christians, they were missionaries, and they came here to spread Christianity. Then we can see there, we have another, like a flower, which has a knight. So it is believed to be the sign of heartbreak. And the last sign here that the Arabs were heartbroken by the Portuguese were heartbroken by the Arabs when they were conquered out of this place. These are a small animal, and you say that it was a chameleon, and it sounds strange to them. And that's why, yeah, the way he used to change his colors, and that's why they had to drill it down. And of course, they interacted with the locals, they made the mosque, and that's why you can see the mosque there. Thank you. So we are heading now to Mazrui Hall. Yeah. And because it is now the festive season, and as you can see, the place is very busy. And inside the room, you might find that it might be very congested. Therefore, I love to explain what is in the room, and then when we go there, we'll just go to have a look at it, and then we proceed. So this one now was used as a boardroom. This is